Yep, those Judge Force wheels are spicy.
Where did it go?
Just sold them to Zag Runners.
It went away.
Zach?
Yep.
Fair enough. Yep, those Judge Force wheels are spicy.
Where did it go?
Just like the sausage in this pizza.
That's Twitch.
Who has this
No, I got
We're
that.
streaming.
Okay, well, turn it off or we're gonna hear the loop.
Oh, God.
I could just mute it.
Yes, please mute it.
Okay, Magic the Amateuring.
We lost our Jeopardy game. I don't know why.
Oops.
When we were previewing the stream, it was fine.
The stream is just going to be judges eating pizza
Twitch
for a straight half an hour,
It's fine. It's entertaining.
and then we'll just cut the feed and not
You can
tell
just
anybody
search for
anything.
it, and then
Bloop bloop bloop. Okay, so I don't know
No, we can actually see the visual.
where it went. So
do you have a link to your Twitch on your website?
probably not.
We should. That's a good point.
Well, we should.
Smart.
Smart one, Rob.
Smart one.
So, like, Megan, I have no idea if you want to take a look at this, like, why it went away. But it went totally black, see?
Weird.
We can try and re-add it, I suppose. Hey, everybody, we are doing JudgeFest 2016 while we deal with a minor technical difficulty. You'll be seeing some interesting Magic trivia rounds here, beginning with Magic the Jeopardying, hosted by Judge April, who has created a lovely Jeopardy game all about magic.
Okay.
And then,
Send it to the
I'm
website
gonna
then.
move this screen.
I'm gonna eat this
look at
piece
his
of pizza
flat,
while we
that's
figure
the
that out.
problem.
No, I know.
Oh, well.
Don't know why. Anyway, so Judge April made Magic the Jeopardying, so we're gonna play. It'll be Megan and I versus Judge Rob and Judge Patrick. So we may lose handily.
Jeez.
And then we're gonna have a round of Ask a Judge, where we've had questions submitted by you, the listeners, and
You're distracting me right
from
today.
people on Twitter, from people on Twitch. So keep that in mind before we begin that round. Get your questions for judges ready. We will take anything at all as a question. If it's a question that you've brought, that's right, anything at all. If it's a question you've asked a judge in the past and you thought it was a difficult question, or you had a ruling that you weren't sure about, you're like, I always meant to ask about that, consider it and write it in Twitch chat when we get to that portion of JudgeFest 2016. We're not there yet, however, because we are dealing with an issue. So please take this opportunity to go to the bathroom and tip your waiters while we fix this. We should play some music.
The only thing in my pocket to do my waiter with is a
Oh my gosh, he's so greasy. I'm sorry, Rob.
Just delete it probably and
I got
redo
grease
it.
all over here.
Is my
$3,000 table.
guess.
It's a really sturdy table. It was
That's
super
pretty.
heavy.
Yeah, we have a great table here for JudgeFest 2016. It is solid. It is the size of 3 men laying end to end. Thank you.
Thank you.
Does your Magic the Jeopardying have Final Jeopardy?
Is this gonna get muted out? It might get muted out on Twitch
Uh-oh.
if you play like the playback.
That's probably.
Uh-oh,
Wow.
we're muted. Muted for life.
Wow.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean,
It's back. Okay, so just move it down. I'm going to ask Ruth to hit record on the cannon for me, please.
Where?
No, I
It's
think
around the
down
back,
in the order
like a
of
little
the
red
video.
button.
Like on the side here?
Yeah, it's like a strip.
No. It's on the actual back.
Oh.
There's an actual cat
Can
here.
we kick out this other cat?
Real cat.
Oh, I thought I had her.
You just moved to bottom.
Put away.
Come here.
Boom.
She escaped.
Jeopardy's
All right.
back.
Escape.
I'm going to record here. Oops, sorry. I'm going to start this. Test, test, test. Looks to be coming through fine. At least I hope so. Test. Test. Okay, it's fine.
Test, test, test.
Beautiful.
All right.
We have everything
I've
set
got
to go.
my deep voice on tonight.
I'm going to hand the microphone over to April. Yay, Jeopardy! Woo! Megan and I are playing, unfortunately, so we'll get in our seats. We have our own little buzzers, by the way, which each have unique sounds, which I think we should, like, briefly mention.
Do we want the fourth buzzer to have a unique sound? It right now has a useless sound.
That's fine.
Womp womp.
Our buzzer says
Yes.
Time in the round. Begin the additional 5-turn extension.
time in the round. Begin the
Yep.
additional 5-turn extension. Judge. Shuffling.
Yep, I get the shuffle.
Do you two want the judge one? Because that's...
Yeah, this one is your voice.
Yeah.
We'll take this one.
Okay.
They can listen to me scream out of that buzzer. That's fine.
Seems reasonable.
Okay. Yeah, so Magic the Jeopardying.
Should we do an intro for the show?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do it.
All right.
Let's pretend we're doing an
have a
actual
book.
show because this will be our actual show.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
Okay, great idea, Megan.
I didn't bring a book.
That's fine.
Sorry.
I could get.
Everybody,
In my house.
Hey, look, here's Romeo and Juliet, right? Over
everybody
there.
was so mad at us for
Yeah, they
pretending
really
like
were.
you weren't
Over
there.
Yeah.
They're like, he's
Wow.
sitting right there. How could you?
Okay, guys.
I've got to find our stream. Sometimes it's like hard
Play
to
with
find on here.
spoilers.
On the mobile site.
Have you seen this? No.
Where are we?
We don't show up on mobile all the time.
So this is a choose your own adventure.
Makes me so sad.
It's okay.
Oh, that's amazing.
It's brand new.
Didn't Ryan North
I'm
also do the
playing this
book
right
on,
To be or not to be?
no, isn't there one that, like, you could go into a booth, like, when you're 18, it will tell you how you're going to die?
Oh, the Machine of
that
Death?
was.
Machine of
Yeah,
Death,
he-
is that Ryan North?
That was.
Yeah, Ryan North
Yeah,
edited both
they're
collections.
right.
There's two Machine of Death collections.
Gotcha. That book is great.
I want to play as Romeo.
Okay. Really good bedtime stories. Me and my spouse used to read them to each other. at
Mauled to
night.
Death by Lions is the best one in that book. It's amazing.
Okay.
I need to get this book.
Hey, everybody. Oh, they want us all, they want the judges to be wearing robes, which I think is a fine
No.
request.
This is the closest you're gonna get, guys.
Yeah.
Like we.
Oh, USA Judge North
Nice.
special.
Very nice.
All right, we're going to
Very
do
fancy.
an intro for our show. Ready, set, go.
Hey everybody, welcome to yet another episode of Magic the Amateuring.
Yes, but this is a special episode, so it's really kind of like not just another episode.
That's right. I didn't say just another episode.
What did you say?
I said another episode.
True enough. True enough.
Because just sounds like I'm putting a judgment on us, like, oh, them again. Just them. Oh gosh.
No, this is a special episode because this is JudgeFest 2016.
It certainly is. If you're watching the video of this, you have already been clued into that because we are surrounded by people so much more knowledgeable than we are.
We're surrounded on all sides by judges.
We are.
Is this what Britain feels like except with water?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, sweet.
We have to elect one of the three of them to be the English channel.
Are they called judges in Britain? Are they like barristers or anything like that? I mean, they could be.
That would be awesome.
Magistrates.
So you've heard these voices coming from the ether, and it's true. It's not just Megan and I on this episode.
We have a couple of judges, so we'll go down the line, and if you all could just give a quick hello to everybody with your name.
All right, starting at the right end.
Yeah.
Hey guys, this is Patrick Cool, local here to Minneapolis. I'm here to have some fun. It's gonna be great.
What level judge are you?
I'm a level 2 judge.
Level 2. Nice.
You certified for L2 twice as many times as anybody else in the room.
Yes, that is in fact correct. I liked it so much the first time I did it again.
That might be me in a few years.
Hey.
All right.
I'm Rob McKenzie. I'm level 3 judge. This is my house. I sleep in the next room over.
Weird. Everybody knows.
Yep,
Where you
and
can
I'm
find
the regional
Rob.
coordinator of the North region.
Yes.
I'm April King. I'm a level 10 judge here in Minneapolis. That's not actually true. I'm level 2, but I wish I was level 10. And I'm going to be hosting the Jeopardy episode today.
Awesome. So what we're going to do for JudgeFest 2016 is, this is an idea that I got when we were doing the judge conference for the North Region judges, and so many people had questions for judges. I thought, wouldn't it be great just get a bunch of judges in a room and have people just throw their questions at them, literally and figuratively.
Like feces?
Like
Yeah.
a monkey with
Please.
poop.
Maria and
Please
I
do not throw things at
later
us.
during the
I would
question
appreciate- no.
during the question asking portion, Maria and I are
Yep.
going to write people's questions on paper and then throw them
Yes.
at you.
Yes. And then whoever is the quickest
Exactly.
reflexes may answer.
Do you have like
Yeah.
a baseball glove or something so I can catch them?
No,
It's just
that
it's
is
just,
cheating.
If it hits you, it's your
It's
question
yours.
to answer.
So yeah, we'll be doing a question
That's fair,
question
I
round. That's fair. With our judges. But first, we're going to play Jeopardy, Magic the Jeopardying, hosted by April. She wrote all these wonderful questions. So we're going to compete against Patrick and Rob, and then we will switch things around, and we'll do a judge questions round with questions submitted through Twitter and on Twitch, because this show is live, everybody.
It sure is, in case you couldn't tell.
Yep.
It's extremely live.
It's not even kind of live.
It's very alive.
It's super live.
Get it out of this hospital. It doesn't need to be here.
That's right, because hospitals are for dead people.
What?
Oh, God. No.
I believe them.
No.
I think the term you're looking for is morgue.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Right. Okay, so let's get this Jeopardy started.
All right, well, let's do this. But before I get started, I want to make a quick shout out to my friend Chuck, who actually helped me with some of the questions.
Ooh, awesome.
Chuck is awesome.
Chuck's a
Thank
great
you
guy.
very much,
Yeah,
Chuck.
he also
thank you,
helped
Chuck.
with the Eldrazi deck, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
Yeah,
Many thanks
super
to Chuck.
sweet Eldrazi deck.
We had an Eldrazi deck for the Community Super League in No Ban List Modern, and it was awesome. Eldrazi Cloud Post. Super
All right.
sweet. Okay.
All right, so welcome to Jeopardy. Here are your categories for today. So there is no double Jeopardy, there is no final Jeopardy,
Okay.
or anything. It's just 30 amazing Jeopardy questions. Remember, or Jeopardy clues. Remember, your answer has to come in the form of a question, or you will not get any points. I'm very strict about this.
Okay.
All right. So your categories for today are keyword madness, where you will get a description of something and you need to name the keyword. We have before and after. We have strictly better. You will be given a card and then asked to name its strictly better counterpart that most people would say. We have mana-less lands. These are lands that do not produce any mana at all. Furnace of Wraths, a walk through the Wraths in Magic's history. And finally, we have quotable quotes, where you will be given a piece of flavor text and asked to name who came up with that flavor text,
Oh my
or who it belongs to.
Maria and
we
I
don't name
are
the card, we name the character.
You name the character.
What?
Oh,
Maria
that's
and
okay.
I are
Well,
gonna
Name the
lose.
character behind the
I'm,
flavor
just,
text.
I'm just going to tap out on that one
And I'm
right now.
hoping I can
because I'm not
remember.
going to get anywhere with that.
Oh boy.
All right. So I have chosen completely at random who gets to go first, and I've decided it is Megan and Maria.
Yes.
So Megan and Maria completely at
All right,
random.
We
What
need
category?
any edge.
We do.
Any edge we can get. Let's go with. You want to go with Furnace of Wraths?
Do you know a lot about Wraths?
I mean, it's one of my favorite types of cards.
Okay, hit it. We'll take
fair.
Furnace of Wraths for 100, please, Alex.
2WW. Destroy all creatures that cannot be regenerated. Megan and Maria.
What is Wrath of God?
That is correct.
Yes!
Woo!
We did it. We
All
got
right.
one right. All right.
The only one we'll get right. You pick the next one. I picked
Okay.
the first one.
We could keep going, but I want to try
We're
quotable
teaming
quotes just because I'm what's the word?
Terrified?
Glutton for punishment. That's it.
I believe you meant Vorthos.
I may have been a little drunk when I wrote these
Okay,
clues, so I might
okay,
not remember
perfect.
the answers for it.
All right.
Oh, great.
Quote
Yeah,
quotes
it's great. Yeah.
for 100, please, Alex.
All right. Innistrad's ghoul callers are talented enough, but let me show you what someone with real power can create.
I don't know for sure.
I don't know
It's
who.
Alex's choice.
I can't tell. I thought
You're
your
in charge.
buzzers would like. Let's see Megan and Maria. They're
Oh
closer.
no!
Okay.
Who is Gisa?
That is incorrect.
Oh no!
Are we stealing? Is that how
Yeah,
this
you
works?
can steal it. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Patrick.
Who is Liliana?
That is correct.
Ooh,
Liliana Vess.
Sorry.
Yep.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Patrick, you have control of the board.
I'll take Furnace of Wraths for 200.
First
Alex.
round. 2 black. So you have to wait until the question has been read. That's how Jeopardy works.
Oh, sorry.
You can't just buzz in right away.
Sorry.
Really? Do you have to wait?
Yeah, in actual Jeopardy, you get penalized if you buzz in
Oh,
too
okay.
soon.
Oh boy. Okay.
All right.
All right.
All right.
2 black. Destroy all creatures. They can't be regenerated. Megan and Maria.
What is damnation?
That's correct.
These we need to make these buzzers sound more different.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
super hard. Maybe you could put your names in them. That would make it easier.
Oh.
Or ours could be
can
like a
record them.
siren
Yeah.
sound. Okay, you re-record first, and then we'll re-record.
I'm a teapot. Yep, that's mine.
That's good.
All right. This is,
Okay.
Yeah, see?
What are we doing?
we're gonna do like a really high pitch. Wee wee. Sound good? Or do you want to do like a bird call? Like hoot hoot.
Okay.
Okay, ready?
Yep.
Hoot hoot.
It only records while you hold it.
Oh.
You have to go again.
This is gonna be the best part of this whole stream.
Hoot, hoot.
Perfect. Nope. That sounds. If I woke up in the middle of the night to that sound,
I think it's got a delay though.
Yeah,
got
it's
it.
because
Oh, it
I held
does.
it for a
Oh,
second
no.
before they started.
Okay,
It starts recording as soon as it beeps.
Hoot, hoot.
There we go.
Sounds like elephants.
Perfect.
Oh my
perfect.
God.
Okay.
can you imagine that, like in the middle of the night, that sound? Oh
No. No.
Also, I think
kidding.
we're playing
So did
separately,
you
aren't
record
we?
yours, Rob? Are you ready?
You're separate.
Oh, we're separate from
Yeah.
each other.
Yes.
Oh,
Separate.
what am I
Yes.
doing?
Yeah, you're on your own.
I thought we were on a team.
Rob
No,
hasn't
I
been
misunderstood.
All right. We will take. We're gonna take before and after for 100.
All right, before and after for 100. Sacrifice it for 3 mana and a piece of it for 1 more.
What's the category?
The category
Before
is
and
before and after. Yes,
What is Black Lotus Petal?
that is correct. Black Lotus Petal. You're up. Choose your card.
Oh, you go.
Oh, okay. I'll choose. Strictly better for 100, please.
Shock.
Next round begins the additional 5 turn extension.
That is such a horrible buzzer.
I can re-record it.
Rob,
What is lightning bolt?
that is correct. Good work.
Nicely done. I feel like we need an audience to make
Yeah,
clapping
I know.
noise.
Well, yeah, we got Ruth over there.
Okay, good job, Ruth. Holding it down.
I'm gonna re-record my buzzer.
Okay, re-record your buzzer.
Okay.
Shock.
All right.
Perfect.
Okay, great.
All right, Rob, you have control of the board.
I would like to go with quotable quotes for 200, please.
Quotable quotes for 200. Some have said there is no subtlety to destruction. You know what? They're dead. I think it was Maria.
Okay, I'm going to guess. I don't know what set we're in. I'm going to guess Nahiri.
That is.
Say it as a question.
I mean, what is Nahiri? Who is Nahiri?
Yeah,
When?
Nahiri's a person. She gets to be who.
Okay.
But
when
then-
is Nahiri?
Unfortunately, that is incorrect. It is
Okay.
not Nahiri.
Okay.
Rob,
Who is Jaya Ballard Task Mage?
that is correct.
Oh,
Nice.
all right. I'm too Innistrad right now.
Yeah.
Audience.
Rob, you're in control of the board.
Quotable quotes for 300, please.
It was probably a lousy spell in the first place.
Wait, I don't know who said it. What are you doing? I should be penalized.
Who is Jace Bellerin?
It is not J spell.
Okay.
I'm
I
sorry.
guessed for you.
It's fun.
Patrick,
Who is Airtie?
that is correct.
Oh
Nice
my
job,
God,
Patrick.
Who is that?
Why did you?
Who is that? Oh my god.
What card is it
Two
on?
is so it's on counterspell.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah,
I
it's
knew
like-
it was on
Yeah, it's on the
Counterspell,
old.
that's why.
It's one of the old counter
Old
spells.
counterspell.
You have to know who is
Tempest.
that?
Yeah.
All right, I was all excited because I knew it was.
I'm gonna go with Furnace of Wraths for 300.
It's a miracle. 1 white.
I'm terrible at
You're
this.
not. You're not. Put all creatures on the bottom of their owner's library. Maria,
What is Terminus?
that is correct.
Yes, we're out of the red. We're out of the red.
Woo! We'll take before and after for 200.
A 6/6 lifelink death touch worm that gives -1/-1 to all creatures of the chosen type.
What is that one card? You know.
Patrick,
Wormcoil Engineered Plague.
that is correct. Nice job,
What is
Patrick.
Wormcoil
Right.
Engineered
Yeah.
Plague?
Why can't I even think of Wormcoil Engine? I just played like Tron for 1,000 years.
I will take Furnace of Wraths for 400, please.
For UU, return all permanents to their owner's hands. Rob,
What is upheaval?
that is correct.
Nice.
Okay, no clapping now.
Rob,
Let's go with quotable quotes for 400, please.
because I am incapable of tears does not mean I have no need to shed them. Rob,
Who is Karn Silver Golem?
That is correct.
Whoa,
Good job.
Karn is so sad. Poor Karn.
I know.
Karn is
so
the
sad.
saddest.
His creature,
The
he is
saddest
the
robot.
saddest golem of all time.
Is he like the monster in Frankenstein, kind of?
He's a little. He's a
to some
little-
extent,
Yeah,
I
a little
mean-
bit, yeah.
Let's close out quotable quotes here.
All right. Khan's run. It's the Lorgoyf.
Who is Safi Eriksdottir?
That is correct.
Rob is killing
good
her.
category
Never would have.
for
I would never
would
have
have figured
gotten
out that.
that.
one.
Absolutely
Nope.
not.
She was in Time Spiral.
I'm well aware of that. Did I say I was good at this game?
Let's go with Manaless Lands for 100, please.
All right, here we go. Recently banned due to too many free Eldrazi. Maria.
What is Eldraz? What is Eye of Eugene?
Eye of Eugene.
Eye of Eugene. That's correct. It is indeed Eye of Eugene.
I almost said the wrong one. I know you did. Oh my god. Pick one.
Oh, let's try Keyword Madness for 100, please.
When discarded, it may be cast. Rob.
What is Madness?
That is correct.
That makes sense.
The easiest.
Let's go with Before and After for 300.
Before and after for 300. A lord that creates 4 squirrels while flipping your library until it finds a basic. Rob.
What is Deranged Hermit Druid?
That is correct.
Great one.
Let's continue down the line in Before and After.
By the way, this is my favorite category to create. I have so much fun doing this. A suspended draw 3 if there are 20 or more cards in a graveyard.
Rob, what is Ancestral Visions of Beyond? That's correct. Second away. Oh, this is a great category. Let's go with 500 on. Alright. Return all artifacts and enchantments to the battlefield, including this black land. Rob, what is Open the Vaults of Whispers? That's correct. Rob is running away with his That one was a tough one. That one is awesome. It's a really good one. Let's go with Keyword Madness. Alright. Tap a creature to add 1 mana of its color to your mana pool. Rob, what is Convoke? Correct. It's not strict yet.
While we fix this, Ruth, could I convince you to get me more water?
You can get the video working on that.
Oh, you want the video on this too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, there we go. That's a little bit better.
I think it's giving feedback, though.
Yeah, I can hear feedback.
Does it
Does
sound
anyone
terrible?
else-
I mean, it's actually more of a static than feedback, actually.
It might be with your microphone. Can you
Hello?
try shutting it off for a second?
Better?
Okay, wait. People say that's better. All right, turn it back on again. Does it sound okay now?
The
Can
Is
you-
this in the Twitch app?
Can you hear me okay?
It looks like it can hear you.
Okay, everyone's saying all right. It sounds like
Okay.
it's back.
All right, so everything's
All right.
working. I don't have any
Testing,
audio
testing.
in the headphones.
Can
though.
you hear me?
Huh. That's weird that you wouldn't have any in the head. Oh well, because your headphones is turned way down. Like we turned the audio
Oh,
way
okay.
down.
Oh,
It
yeah,
must
so
somehow
here-
something weird must have happened.
Like, can you hear it now?
Yep, now it's good.
Okay. All right, we're back.
All right.
Sorry, I have absolutely no idea what happened.
I completely messed up the clue order on Keyword Madness because as I said earlier, I was quite drunk when I set this up. So
Okay, perfect.
So
Great.
I switched it over to Wi-Fi to start with because otherwise you're streaming over.
I lost internet connection, so I turned it off Wi-Fi.
Okay.
All right. When you're on mobile, it automatically turns off the video.
All
right.
From me at least.
So
All
got
right.
sick of being ignored. That was probably it.
You want my laptop?
All right.
are we ready to go with the
Yes.
next clue?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
We'll go with let's go with strictly better for 200.
Strictly better for 200. Ancestral Visions. Patrick.
Ancestral recall.
That is correct.
What is ancestral recall?
Yes.
I'm terrible.
Yes. Patrick, you have control of the board.
Let's close out Furnace of Wraths.
All right, for 500. 6RR can't be countered. That's red, by the way. Can't be countered. Destroy all artifacts, creatures and lands, not creates. All creatures and lands. They can't be regenerated. Rob.
What is obliterate?
That is correct.
I can give you the flavor text.
All right, Rob, you're up.
The flavor text.
The flavor text is also
The
great.
flavor
on that
text
card.
is great.
Super good.
The
Yeah.
flavor text.
For his daughter, Baron created a funeral pyre of all Teleria.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. It's
It's harsh.
The whole
Yes.
story is like really like messed up. It's like,
Baron's story in general is
it's
crazy. Let's go with Keyword Madness for 400.
upon entering the battlefield, attach a germ. Rob.
Living weapon. What is living weapon?
Correct. Yep.
Ugh. Keyword Madness for 5.
This creature is a zombie squirrel illusion advisor. Rob.
What is changeling?
That's correct.
Oh, smart.
Let's hit
Rob is crushing everybody.
Manaless Lands for 200.
You get a swamp, and you get a swamp. Everyone gets a swamp. Patrick.
What is Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth?
Correct.
Manaless Lands for 300.
Merit Lage works beneath the surface. Megan and Maria.
What is Dark Depths?
Correct.
Sure. Manaless Lands for 400.
Mulligan 2-1 for this land in Vintage Dredge. Rob.
What is Bazaar of Baghdad?
Correct.
Wow, never heard of that one.
It's super good.
That's a shame.
Very
that
good.
is a
really
shame.
I will hit 500 for Manaless Lands.
This church causes some unholy triggers. Maria.
What is the Roman Catholic Church? I mean, I'm just saying.
That is probably true.
600 points to you.
Patrick.
What is the Tabernacle at Pendrell Vale?
That's correct.
Good
All right.
lord.
Down to Strictly Better here.
300 on Strictly Better.
Counterspell. Rob.
What is Mana Drain?
Correct. It's a very fair card.
400 or 500?
400.
Mind Control. Patrick.
What is Treachery?
Ooh, I'll give you that.
Yeah,
Treachery.
yes.
I believe that we would also
Control
accept
magic.
Control
Control
Magic.
magic.
Yeah.
Both of them are strictly better
They're both,
than
they are
Mind
both strictly
Control.
better. Yeah,
Yes.
it's true. All right, and for 500 we
Yep.
have Leaf Gilder. Rob.
What is Llanowar Elves?
Correct.
There are a lot.
Orphan
of,
Hornells
there are
or
a lot
Elvish
of
Mystic.
options.
Yeah.
Well,
There's a lot of things better than Leaf Gilder.
Well, the problem with Leaf Gilder is it's a 2-1.
Oh, I
and
guess
so,
that's true.
Right, and so it's like Llanowar Elves is better in the sense that the thing that it does, it's better
That's
at.
right.
But yeah,
I probably should have tried to find a 1/1. Is there a 1/1 for 2 mana that creates a green?
that just taps for single green.
There's an elk.
Like Dawn Treader Elk or
No, Golden Hind is the same card as
Leaf Gilder.
Leaf Gilder.
Okay.
Golden Hind.
Never mind.
Yeah.
It's actually really hard to find cards that are absolutely strictly better than another
Right.
card. Like it's
Llanowar
actually really
Elf
hard to
is
magic.
is like it does the only job that you care about exactly better. So
All right. Well, anyways, thank
don't
you all
care
for
that it's
playing
a 2-1.
Jeopardy.
Rob crushed us.
Yeah, Rob.
Yeah.
Rob
What was the
crushed
final
us.
score,
Final
April?
score is Rob with $5,600.
Oh gosh. Yep.
Patrick with $1,900, and
Yep.
Megan and Maria with $900, which you can
Yeah.
use to buy 3 Judge Foil Force of Wills.
I
Rob
sold
is
them
selling.
already.
Perfect.
No, they're sold
Perfect.
already.
Oh.
Sorry.
So,
Yeah.
somebody
Okay.
suggested Boreal Druid as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
Boreal
Boreal
Druid. Yeah,
Druid
that
is
makes
also
no
a-
mana. That's a
yeah.
good call.
Yeah, it's also
Alright.
makes colorless. It's worse than Leonard Rolf in every way.
Yeah.
Okay.
What is it? Is it still? Doesn't it make the it makes the Eldrazi mana though now, doesn't it? Or does
Yeah.
it make still make colorless?
It makes
It
Eldrazi
always made
mana.
colorless.
It makes actual colorless,
Actual
not generic.
colorless. Okay.
Yeah, well, generic you can't
Generic
make.
doesn't exist.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, no, generic's a cost. It exists,
Sure.
but you can't make it.
Final score: Rob wins. MTA is going to hell. Accurate.
Swan dive.
Accurate. So what's going to happen now? We've done our magic, the Jeoparding, and now we're going to do judge questions. So I'm going to
Yes.
transition over here. Judge April's going to get in, and we are going to field some questions for our judges.
Do we still get to buzz in?
They loved it.
Do they still get to buzz in?
Yes.
Yes, you still get to buzz
They're
in.
going to give you points.
Yes.
Oh God.
How
Oh, I
many?
have to be
Just
Hooters now.
arbitrary amounts of points?
One per answer.
Okay. I feel like we should go by multiples of 10. Nobody likes 1 point increments.
Where's my
We'll
How
give
about,
you guys
how about, how about
6,
7 point increments?
7 point increments?
Yeah, let's
No.
make this as confusing as possible.
We can increment via the Fibonacci sequence.
Yes.
So
The first
FYI,
two
it's like
questions are
nearly
both
impossible to
one
tell who
point.
reads it
Yes.
first from the sound. Just look at the hands.
Gotcha.
That's what I ended up doing.
I'll watch,
was looking at
I'll
the
watch
hands.
hands and call
Yeah.
it.
I'm so excited to be the owl that actually sounds like an elephant. I mean,
What? That sounds like an owl. It's clearly saying hoot hoot.
What do you think, Stream? Does this sound like an owl or an elephant?
Hoot hoot.
Come on, that's not a hoo hoo.
Test, test, test.
That's an elephant sound.
Owls say hoot
Test, test.
with a hard T. They're
No,
clearly saying
test,
a
test.
hard T on the end.
I'm getting a little bit of feedback on this microphone, y'all, so
I do love that we
excuse me
are
while I'm not
debating
changing.
the semantics of the animal sounds
That's not what I
recorded on
wanted.
10
these,
kilohertz.
on these
oh no, it
incredibly
went
sophisticated
black too.
buzzers.
See,
I bought them for amusement value, not for quality.
this is the PowerPoint.
Looks like a Boreal Druid that would cast
What's
Spot
going on?
Nuts here on turn 3. I mean, that's pretty busted.
Whatever.
That is pretty.
That works.
That's pretty
Busted.
good.
Like we can't get our top, but that's
But I mean,
okay.
Yes.
Smaller again.
Lana Worlds
Make it-
can't do that,
There you
Rob. Just can't do it.
Okay.
Yeah, but Llanowar Elves can cast like real spells on turn 3.
It's just in
Not
Rob,
fake
Rob
cheaty
thinks
spells.
that only green spells are real spells to Rob.
That's actually not terribly far off the truth.
It's so messed up. Whatever.
I mostly play black spells, so.
Yeah, I like black spells. Blue spells
So
are
let's see if
also
I can like
good.
live edit it still.
Yep.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like reverse.
Yay.
Blue spells
sort
are
of-
completely
like-
fair.
Yeah,
It
in,
looks
in my
terrible, but
office,
I
I have
think-
the original art Demir signet hanging up because
Yep.
it reminds me of my life philosophy.
But our names are
I
back.
like black and white spells.
So please pardon
That's
us while
pretty
we
much my color combination.
sort of
Is it
fix
just 'cause
this,
you have,
everybody.
like, a man crush on Soren? Is that what it is?
I mean,
I think you
everybody
might.
should have a man crush on Soren, so
That's fair. That's fair.
like
It's pretty terrible art though. He doesn't look very.
Yeah,
he's
it's
not
fair.
looking very good. In
What? He's
not in the most recent one.
No.
Yeah.
Don't know
Yep.
what's going on here with Ruth.
I was gonna say while we're waiting, I have a random unsorted box of
Oh God.
Two swords.
that's
No, no, no.
Japanese.
Yeah, that's foreign language cards box, Ruth.
This gets even better.
I'll show you the card when we're done. It's black, one black. Artist is Eric Pollock. It looks like a big angry dude.
You should just show us the art. You should bring the art over here, and then we could try to identify the card.
Okay. Name that card.
Raving Oni Slave.
Good grief.
I mean-
I'm gonna get so crushed at this.
It's a Kamigawa common. Like, so I played a lot.
It's not just a
of
Kamigawa common, it's a Savior's common.
Oh, yeah. To be fair, I played a lot of Savior's Mini Masters. Also, do not recommend. It's the worst Mini Masters format. Ghost.
There's a
Lilt.
terrible like little clicking
goes
in
like
this that I hope
Beamer,
isn't going out
Nourisher?
live, but you never
I
know.
think it's Nourisher.
No, Nourisher's the white
No.
one that gains you life.
I see anything that's not in Kamigawa.
I open a lot of foreign Kamigawa.
Test,
I
test,
think this is
test.
all Kamigawa.
Yeah, do you want a whole box of foreign Kamigawa? Because that's what you found.
No, just wait. I have other cards.
That aren't
It's like-
Kamigawa.
It's like Chinese Kamigawa. Why
Yeah,
it's just like Japanese
Ugh.
Kamigawa.
Okay.
It seems like that.
Because it was what I had.
more
like,
flavorful.
Yes.
Set symbol looks like a palm tree.
So it's
Oh, Mirage.
Mirage. Yeah.
It's red, and dude looks like he's ready for disco night with a big sword.
Uh,
or totally like bodysuit with a sword.
If it's a red common creature, it's probably some kind of Ascari. Searing Spear Ascari?
Not even close.
Perf.
All right.
So I'm gonna need to open up
want it?
some stuff
Is it a
here
creature?
quickly
Sure.
It's a creature.
on the interwebs.
Oh no, this is
for
still
some
foreign.
questions.
Never mind. I don't know the name. I thought it was English.
So-
Oh, that's lightning
Yeah,
reflexes.
probably.
definitely looks like Disco Night, though.
Yeah, he's got some
I
thighs
thought it was
David
a creature.
Bowie.
when
It's
she
David
said it
Bowie
was
with a
creature.
giant sword.
Yeah, it's David Bowie with the giant sword. Yeah.
Like, I'm okay with that. Like, if I'm getting hacked to bits, it might as well be David Bowie doing it.
Here, Megan, say some things.
Yeah, of course.
It's one of the
Hey, everybody!
instances,
For those of you who are watching and/or listening to this later, you can find us on Twitter at MTAcast. You can email us magictheamateuring@gmail.com, or you can find us on our website magictheamateuring.com. We've got playmats, some sweet good luck high five
We
playmats,
want to show
some
off
sweet
our
good luck high
massive
five
six-packs
t-shirts,
that I definitely don't have.
and other things on our website that you can check out. Become a Patreon of our a patron of our show on Patreon.
This is the same one.
You can find us there at MTAcast or Magic the Amateuring, and support us for as little as $1 an episode. Oh, it's okay. I'm just doing like some promo stuff for us while Maria's getting this all set up.
We're looking
Yeah.
at scoring cards and naming them.
Trying to figure
I'm
out what
looking
the-
Oh,
at
okay.
cards and I'm naming them. This is
Nice. So yeah, that's everything.
That's everything.
That's everything.
Yes. They revised the template for
You guys can now keep doing it out loud.
this is the fire sprites. They're very Spirit Furnace spirits.
You're just guessing based on.
I mean, like,
No,
Fuoco
they're
is
from,
fire.
they're from Legends.
Or should I ask a couple of questions that I know that we have from Twitter?
Italian.
Not
Yeah,
yet.
it's Italian.
Okay.
Fuoco is fire. It's not.
This is in really good shape. Like,
I opened a couple packs at a time. Legends at one point.
super mint. Okay.
This
And I
one's
threw them in a box
hilarious.
because it's foreign.
Okay.
I wanna-
Yeah.
Our work's just
Oh
funny.
yeah, everybody knows this.
I have an Italian moat. That's not
Yeah,
bad.
those are hard. That's
Indestructible aura, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
If you want an Italian indestructible aura that's in pretty fine shape, contact ladies.
I can't believe you sold those for singles, man.
I am
Well,
excited
that
to be
is cool,
sold
bro.
those.
He wants money.
I have a couple more that may be available.
I'm just gonna keep shaking my head at you.
If you want to give me money, I'll find a way to take it.
I might figure out a way to do that.
These symbols mean soul shit.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I did not play that set at
No,
all.
I don't-
Promised Kanushi. It is the only non-spirit with soul shift, and it is soul shift 7. Huh. Because they wanted to put a really huge soul shift number on a card and it couldn't be a spirit.
Oh, sure.
Because otherwise it could return itself. And every other thing with soul shift returns something one smaller than it. This returns anything you want. Well, not strictly anything. It can't return the oceans.
Pretty close.
Is the social 7 like less than or equal to that then?
Yeah.
God, I have no idea how soul shift works. Oh, that's kind of sweet art.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Ron
these
Spencer.
little clicks
Oh,
are
yeah.
Sweetheart.
crazy.
I do love Ron Spencer's art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This destroys
I-
a land and gives, if you paid black mana for it, all creatures get -1
Oh
-1.
yeah, I think I've actually may have cast this card at one point or other.
It's actually reasonable. It's limited format because it's kind of a half wrath that wrecks one of their that
Yeah.
wrecks a bounce land.
Seems fine. Better than his.
Yeah.
That is Stone Rain.
Stone Rain.
Yep.
Kaboosh.
Yeah.
I remember the name.
That's
of
the
card.
easy one.
Yeah.
That was. It's,
I can name Stone Rain all night long.
That helped.
I don't even know if they're hearing us.
I can tell you what this
I have
text
your
is,
mic.
but I don't remember the
have
card
your,
name.
now your mics are up. Now
I
your
can tell you
mics are up,
creature
everybody.
That's okay.
Deal
You
with
still
it.
can't remember
Now
the
I
card
need to
name.
also have.
What is the slash?
Twitch
is
open.
Do they have slashes to separate super type and subtypes?
We are almost
Or
ready,
two different creature
everybody.
types?
Oh yeah,
It's a creature dash something and also something else.
Oh okay. Yeah,
because
I guess
it's a
these-
rat shaman.
Super type and then these are subtypes.
Yeah. Or just card type.
Right. Sorry, card type.
I like how I'm
This
gonna
it says your opponent's maximum
Yeah,
passes
almost
are
ready.
raised by 1.
It's a 1/1 rat shaman.
Okay.
I don't remember what it's called.
It's a really nice rat
2
field.
in a row.
Okay, we are just about ready here to begin the official judging of JudgeFest 2016. If you can't see me,
So,
I'm
it's a
hiding
lean.
behind this
Yeah, it's a
computer.
lean. This is Leonin Relic Ward, I'm pretty sure.
Hey, judges,
No,
Oh.
it can't be leading in a row.
All right, everybody.
quit
ready.
having fun.
All right.
We're about to get down to business.
We have entered
business.
Judge Business. We have entered the round now of JudgeFest 2016, where we ask the judges some questions which we have obtained on Twitter, live on twitch.tv/magictheamateuring, or people have emailed to us. So the judges will buzz in when they think they know the answer. I will leave it up to the judges themselves to self-police this, okay? So call your each other if you think the answer is incorrect.
This can only end well.
Yeah,
This can,
great idea.
yeah.
It's a Minority Report kind of situation, but we're encouraged to say the other reporter is bad.
Yes. Yes.
You're
That is
terrible.
correct.
My
If
turn.
we
My
find
turn.
out that you were doing that, though, we'll send you an official scolding in the mail later.
And you do have my address because you're at my house.
Yes, exactly.
So we're going to start with a question that came to us on our email, magictheamateuring@gmail.com. This person apologizes because this uses Pan Glacial Worm, the card that judges like to pretend doesn't exist. Is that true?
Can we bring the card up on the screen? Like,
What card?
Pan Glacial Worm.
I'm sorry, what card?
Are we able to bring it up? I don't know.
I get it.
Can you grab your
I get
phone
it.
so that we can pull up cards?
Pan,
This is
we
a
get
card
all-
that exists, but I've never
Pan
heard of it.
Glacial Worm.
I'm sorry, I don't know what you're talking about.
You're trying real hard, April.
It's from...
I think they're all being comical.
Oh, are they?
Yes.
God
Yeah.
damn it, judges.
Yep. They are all trolling you real hard.
We are all agreeing
so-
with the sentiment that this card does not exist.
So I'll read it. Pan Glacial Worm is 5 green. For a creature worm, it's a 9/5 with trample. It says, while you're searching your library, you may play Pan Glacial Worm from your library.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay, well, I'll first of all, don't know what that means. Second of all, here's the question. Supposing that I have resolved Fated Infatuation on a Panglacial Worm, I then activate Soul Sculptor on the Panglacial Worm token. If I then cast Primal Command, selecting the modes of put target non-creature permanent on top of its owner's library, and search your library for a creature card, reveal it, and put it into your hand, then shuffle your library, my target for the spell is the Panglacial Worm token. The question is this. As I am searching my library for a creature card, am I allowed to cast a Panglacial Worm token? Why or why not?
You can't,
Yes, Judge Rob.
you can't cast things that aren't cards. Well, you can cast copies, but you can't cast tokens. And even if you could, this is dumb. Like, so the problem with most Panglacial Worm
You're the
questions.
Twitch audience,
We're
your
going by
questions
10.
are down.
No,
Well, no,
by
the
10?
problem with most
Oh,
Panglacial
okay.
Worm questions is the right way to use Panglacial Worm is just cast it while you're fetching with a fetch land. Like, it's the actual situations that people ask these tricky, complicated Panglacial Worm questions
Will
on.
actually never
It
happen.
literally will never happen unless you're engineering them in like an EDH game, at which point play whatever way has the most fun for you,
But
because
isn't that how like 99% of hard judge questions are? Like,
yes and no. There's the recent Great Aurora one, which we'll bring up later, but that's a real hard judge question and comes up in standard right now.
All right, so I've got the next question.
Okay.
Can Rest in Peace prevent me from getting creatures into play via Grenzo Dungeon Warder? Judge Rob.
Yes. Grenzo Dungeon Warden's Oracle text says that it puts it into play from your graveyard, I'm pretty sure.
All right.
And if it's not in your graveyard when he's looking for it. Yeah.
Yeah, you put the bottom card of your library into your graveyard, and as soon as you
Oh,
try
wait.
it...
No. He doesn't care where it goes.
Yep.
He doesn't say put it into play from your graveyard.
It just says put that card into play.
Yeah,
If
and so
it's-
he tracks it because he doesn't
It
care
goes to
where
the
it
first
actually
zone.
ended up. Yeah, the replacement effect put it in the zone. He doesn't care which zone it actually ended up going to. He just says put that card into play. He doesn't say put it into play from your graveyard.
So the final answer is.
No, Rest in Peace does not stop.
All right, we'll split the difference on that. 5 to Rob, 5 to Patrick.
5 to Rob, 5 to Patrick. All right. Updated. All right, I have
Should
another
have my own
question
Oracle
here
device
from
instead of doing it
email.
from memory.
This question is, Hey, y'all is how it starts, just FYI.
Oh, good.
I cast a precursor golem. Once it has resolved, I cast a Rite of Replication, playing the kicker cost, targeting my precursor golem. Once that has resolved, I cast another Rite of Replication, paying the kicker cost, targeting one of my precursor golems. How many precursor golems do I have, and how many golem tokens do I have?
I need a calculator
Yeah.
for this. Preferably a spreadsheet.
Calculator
this
and
is-
spreadsheet
So
has
right
been
of
called.
replication makes 5 copies, right?
5 copies.
Yeah.
And it targets all
So you have
3 of your
3.
golems.
Yep.
So it makes
15.
copies.
Yep.
No, the golems are different from each other. There's precursor golem and there's golem tokens. So you
Yeah.
Sure, but they're targeting the precursor golem.
Sure, but so
it's going to make 15 total golems, but five of those are
they're actually
precursors.
precursor
you're going to start
golem.
with 6 precursor golems,
Yeah.
and then you're going to end up with 12 non-precursor golems, right?
Yep.
Yes.
And so you now have 6 precursor golems
Yep.
that when you cast the next Rite of Replication,
We'll target all 12 golems.
You'll have 6
Each-
triggers.
each of
6
them are gonna
copies of
target.
replication.
yeah.
For it, right?
Yeah, so
Doesn't it
it's
say,
like it's
specifically
exponential.
That
Like it's
card, though?
Hmm?
Doesn't it say specifically when it targets that particular precursor golem?
The precursor golem.
Or no, it says when it targets any
when it-
golem.
Yeah,
right?
when it targets
Oh,
golem,
okay,
so you can pull up the oracle if you want.
yeah, like this question generates very
Oh, we
large
have
numbers of things.
Yeah.
Lee's in our chat from WotC, and let's see, he has an answer here. Oh, look at it's a little website for it.
A specific website just for this question. Great.
Yeah, he has a precursor
Yes.
golem calculator.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Awesome.
So the question is answered by your opponent is probably dead.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. How do
Or
I?
you could easily cast like Rakdos Charm. Like you could just get Rakdos.
Yeah, I mean, like you might just be dead
Yeah.
from Rakdos Charm,
Yeah.
or you will be dead from
You will be
Rakdos
super
Charm.
dead from Rakdos Charm.
Who's the 6 cost guy that does the same thing? He has transmute. When he enters the battlefield, your opponent's each player loses 1 life for each creature they control.
Hell if I know.
Yeah, no kidding.
He's a 2/4 common from Ravnica City of Guilds. He has transmute, which is why he's relevant. He has a bunch of other text, and he's got transmute for 6. Like,
This is all I'm hearing.
Lee 10 points.
10 points.
Good.
10 points
Yeah,
to
Lee
Lee.
gets 10 points. Lee is now a part of
Lee
this.
gets 10 points.
10 points to Lee.
It's like Lee Sharp, right?
yeah.
All right. So, do you want to start checking Twitch chat? If you guys have questions, go ahead and type them into chat, and Maria will grab good ones off of there. And in the meantime, I'll keep going off of ones that we got from Twitter. So the next one from Twitter is are split second spells copied and replicated by cards like Hive Mind?
Yes.
Okay. Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Do you want context? or just yes?
like the
Go
answer
ahead,
is yes.
Go
The
ahead,
question
give us
is
a little context.
so split second prevents anybody from casting spells or activating abilities while that spell is on the stack. However, Hive Mind is a trigger and copies it for everything or for everybody else. So the trigger goes on the stack above the split second spell, and then once that trigger resolves, it creates all the copies, and then those all resolve along with the original spell.
And note that
Okay.
it's specifically not mana abilities. So like if you have like if somebody tries to extirpate a what is the buyback it's like 1 in a red, it does 2 damage, and you can buy it back if you gain
Oh,
life.
Punishing Fire?
Punishing Fire.
Yep, you
So
can
if Punishing
activate-
Fires or tries to extirpate your Punishing Fire, you can activate Grove because it's a mana ability.
Yep.
Give them a life.
Yep.
trigger.
I actually
Trigger
had that
on the
judge
stack.
call at an SCG Open like 2 years ago,
Nice.
and it was the most confusing thing for the player appealing that. I was the head judge, and they were like, "No, there's no way that works that way." And I'm like,
And then,
"No."
yeah,
well, then you ask them. Well, you can use morph to counter that, right? If I had a
God.
right? Because
You can't.
you can use
It's a
Willbender
special
to move
action.
It, if you use Willbender to move it around, so you ask them, how do you pay the cost for Willbender if you couldn't activate mana abilities? And they go,
Oops.
oh
You
yeah.
probably weren't thinking about
All right,
Right,
we're
we
in
were
the
thinking
about
no,
morph in
but-
general.
Right.
we're in the weeds. We're in the weeds, judges.
I mean, like, I could get a bigger shovel and we could dig this hole deeper.
I
but-
want to answer. By the way, the answer is some absurd number of golem tokens.
Right, that's
and
why
so
we-
it is
that's why we were like
233,286 precursor golems and 335924233.
Yeah.
Okay.
I actually had that
Like-
written down on my phone screen.
Uh-huh,
while you weren't
sure you
looking,
did.
So I feel like I definitely have
All right,
to-
here's
Give
a
Lee
question
Sharp
for
10
you
points.
from Twitch.
Yep.
Hey, judges. Who does?
Lee Sharp.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, Lee's
Watson
got
Lee
10.
in Twitch is Lee Sharp.
Lee has 10.
Like,
Hey judges, if Kozilek the Great Distortion is my commander, am I able to tap Command Tower for mana? If so, what kind? Oh my.
Could I get the Oracle on Command Tower?
Yeah, I need to see it too.
Yes.
I think it just taps for 1 mana of any color of your commander's color, and colorless is not a color, so...
Oracle text on Command Tower is add to your mana pool 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity.
So yeah, you do not. You can tap it. It won't do anything useful.
Yep.
All right.
It will go try to add and then just not add anything.
All right. Next question. You have one, Megan?
Yes, I've got another one here from Twitter.
I was the person to ask for Oracle.
All right, if I enchant a basic forest with a Utopia Sprawl, can I use both mana produced to cast Imperiosaur?
No.
All right,
so the thing that is producing mana for Utopia Sprawl is Utopia Sprawl. It's a triggered ability of Utopia Sprawl that says whenever enchanted land is tapped, add 1 mana of the chosen color to your mana pool. That mana comes from Utopia Sprawl. It didn't come from a basic land.
Excellent.
Thank gosh it's a trigger you can't respond to. Because otherwise Moto would be really terrible that way.
All triggered mana abilities would be atrocious if you could respond. Like, yeah.
No, thank you, get out.
All right, Maria, do you have another one from Twitch?
Sure, we'll just ask a general question, which you can all answer. What is the hardest card to deal with as a judge? And I'll give points to the best story. If you have any personal memories with a particularly difficult ruling, for example.
I could name some least favorite cards. I mean, we're all just answering. Yeah.
All right. But I buzzed in. So.
Yeah.
I have priority here.
Yeah.
I think the one that probably was like the most difficult in like terms of like making a tournament run and like long drawn out things was Obsidat Ghost. The Obsidat that blinked into the zone.
Oh,
like
yeah.
Ghost Dad.
No, that not.
No,
Ghost Dad.
not the original
Ghost
one.
Dad.
Second one.
Oh, okay. Second one.
Yeah.
Ghost Stepdad.
Ghost Stepdad.
The
Obsidat Grandaddy. I don't know what he is. But he would be exiled on your opponent's turn, and then he would come back, and people would forget it, and like it happened so many times, like the first 3 tournaments. It was like it was really egregious. It was super terrible.
I think the most consistently forgotten thing that that everybody runs into is Bob triggers. It's no longer a major issue, but people still inevitably forget it all the time.
Dark Confidant for those people
Sorry,
that don't
Bob,
know all the
Dark
nicknames
Confidant.
because
yeah,
this is a beginner's magic show, Patrick.
Yeah.
Dark Confidant trigger. People have a tendency to forget that repetitively.
Yeah.
Yep.
I play Legacy, and Sulfuric Vortex is exactly the same way.
Ooh, Lee says Dark Confidant was a huge problem in judge philosophy for a while. We used to give a game loss for forgetting the trigger.
Yeah, there was.
Yep, it was
all triggers gave warnings if you missed them, and so I remember the first modern Grand Prix, GP Lincoln, Nebraska.
Yep.
Was we definitely had one guy rack a game loss in a single round due to Dark Confidant triggers. He was tired. He missed 3 in the same round, and got a game loss. And the judge who delivered it pulled him aside and was like, seriously, dude, you need to pay more attention. Yeah. We don't want to give you this game loss, but that's the way policy works. And the guy's like, no, I understand. And he stopped missing them, but it would have escalated really fast.
Yeah. I have no idea how many contortions the IPG, the Infraction Procedure Guide, has gone through just because of Bob. Like, just because of like, dealing with triggers like this that are beneficial, but like kind of feel like they can be non-beneficial at times. And it's just kind of messy.
Yeah, the lapsing triggers are the worst.
There's a huge number of like the flip cards, the werewolves, that caused a lot of problems during like the lapsing trigger era.
Yeah.
The like 4-month era where lapsing triggers were a thing.
There was also Pyreheart Wolf, the one that
couldn't be blocked.
The one that said when he attacked, he said
creatures you control got menace, right?
Yeah, creatures you control gain menace. But the problem is that under the trigger policy at the time, it was really, really bad. If you didn't announce his trigger, your opponent could block. And then you'd be like, but you couldn't block. I didn't announce this trigger. But like, it didn't do anything yet.
Follow-up question.
Yeah.
Follow-up question. What is the ruling now for missing a Bob trigger?
Nothing. So there's no penalty. Your opponent may choose to put it on the stack if they want, which solves everything basically.
Yeah.
It's not detrimental because you're playing Dark Confidant for that trigger. That trigger is beneficial, obviously, or else you wouldn't play that guy. And
Oh no, I like my 2 1s for 2 that are just do
Just
nothing.
do nothing. They're not even ambush vipers.
Yeah, like
Especially
the-
in modern.
but there are circumstances where your opponent wants you to get it. Your 1 life. Your opponent's
see
like,
if we
yes.
can blow you out.
Yes.
I've won a lot of games that
Yep.
way.
And so your opponent may choose to put it on the stack immediately, and then that'll resolve it. And they can actually call over at what would be an inopportune time for you, as long as they catch it within a turn. And so you're like, oh, I'm at 4. I can fetch. They're like, I would like you to get Dark Confidant trigger now that you've removed a land from your library.
All right.
All
Next
right.
question.
Okay. If is it an acceptable shortcut when casting Mind's Desire to shuffle once and then rip off the top X storm?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean that saves so much time. There's no reason that's not okay.
Maybe an arbitrary points of this
It's
board.
kind of the same thing as with the Zenith cards. Like, don't they
Yeah.
typically require you to shuffle twice?
Green Sun Zenith. If you have not shuffled twice with Green Sun Zenith, then you've been doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So this question came to us by Twitter. Right. My skin invasion on my Felidar cub. No other enchantments. Sack the cub, targeting invasion. Do I get Skin Shredder?
So this is the new
This is the
one
new
red
transform.
one red man. All right.
So you shouldn't. So you're going to sacrifice the cub, put its ability on the stack, targeting the skin invasion, and then as state-based action, skin shredder or whatever skin invasion falls off. It goes directly to the graveyard.
So it never has a chance to.
So this is also a trigger when enchanted creature dies. So there's 2 triggers that are on there's activated ability Felidar Cub on the stack, and then there's trigger from skin invasion above it, and then state-based actions throw skin invasion into your graveyard. And the
Felidar Cup one is just countered.
Well, no, the skin invasion has a trigger.
Well, no, right. But I'm saying, because the card is not on the battlefield, that ability is just countered.
Well, no. Actually, no. It should put it on the battlefield, right? Because skin invasion says.
I'm saying.
Let's go back to skin
I'm saying
invasion.
the activated ability is countered.
Yeah, the activated ability is going to end up being countered. But
skin invasion.
Skin invasion doesn't care. When enchanted creature dies, return skin invasion to the battlefield.
So the ability's
transform
still
into your
there,
control.
and it'll just bring it
it'll
back.
put it onto the battlefield. Sorry, I thought it was something else. There's other cards that do similar things. Yeah, so you should get it back.
Yep.
All right.
But
So you do
corrected
get a
that.
3/4.
I would give that to April. She
All right.
She pointed out the correct thing.
Okay. April, climbing back up.
I think you should just garnish Rob's points, actually.
I think he has
We'll
enough
take
points
them
from
away from
Jeopardy.
him.
Like we don't need to give
Oh
Rob
man,
any more
do
points.
the points carry over and we're doing these in only units of 10? I'm done. I'm just going to read.
Yeah.
All right.
But every answer we give, we garnish from your points.
Sure.
Great
Okay.
question
As long
here.
as it's only in units of 10, you can answer as many of these as you want.
If I crib swap Azusa, lost but seeking, what are the odds on having reunited her with her family?
This is a flavor judge question.
Yeah.
0? Isn't Crib Swap the changelings come
Yes.
over?
The changelings come and just yoink.
Yeah, she goes to. She gets taken out of the crib and replaced with the changelings so that she can be raised by the changelings. But
And I'm pretty sure her family is not a bunch of changelings.
I mean,
so
they might be.
Is there any way we can call in Ben Stark for this one? He notably loves answering flavor questions. So.
I wish that we could.
Have you heard
we
the
cannot.
recent?
I wish we
There's
could
like a
backphone,
recent video
Ben Stark.
sequence of LSV asking Ben Stark flavor questions, and he just refuses to answer. So he's asking a question, and then he's just silent, just nothing.
There's one right. There's
So
a good
good.
one right here.
All right.
So this one I hear a lot. It's a common question. What is the ruling, and what should I do if my opponent draws too many cards after a mulligan at an F&M at my LGS?
what's the ruling, or what should you do?
I suppose what you should do is call a judge.
Yeah, I mean,
What
that's
is
the
the
that's the
ruling?
immediate answer is call a judge. But what is the judge gonna do? I mean, they're probably gonna
At FNM, I just shuffle away.
should
enough
shuffle away a
cards.
card.
Yeah,
to-
if they drew 7 instead of 6, I would just shuffle a random card away.
Yep.
Yep. That
This
gets
is-
everybody playing the game faster,
Yeah.
and it brings it back to where it should be.
Well,
as far as
what I would do is I take that card and I set it on top of their library and say, "Do you want to mulligan to 5?"
Yeah.
And they say no, and I go, "Okay, shuffle your library." They say yes, and I go shuffle those cards in. It's one less shuffle. Save them a minute, but yeah, that one card is going to get shuffled in.
It's,
All right.
it's different if you're playing
Yeah,
at
it is different
a
at competitive.
GP,
Yes.
Yep.
where your opponent gets the choice to either take one of your cards after seeing your hand, or you are forced to mulligan, correct?
Yep, but they don't get to see your hand first. They decide before they see your hand whether or not you're going to be down an additional card or whether they're going to take one of their choice.
All right. So I have one.
One of your choices got to always be better, right?
It depends on if it's game 2 and they're playing Manalist Dredge, I will Hymn to Turok them against other decks I'll thoughts.
Yeah, right, that's fair.
So what happens if I brainstorm in my upkeep with a Sylvan Library in play?
This is a very common question.
Yeah,
that
I mean,
get answered a lot.
Yep. Anything with like drawing a bunch of cards in the upkeep with Sylvan Library is a fairly common question.
So
you're the legacy player of
happens?
the three of us, so.
You know, I would just tell players, like, you just keep the cards separate. Like,
Yeah.
people always think, like, hey, I need to call over a judge so I can mix the brainstorm cards into my hand so it's not obvious.
No.
But,
It's not our job to verify things.
but it's not the judge's job. So, like, your job as a player is if you brainstorm, you just keep those brainstorm cards separate, and then you can put back
some
whatever
mixture
cards.
of them. But
Yep.
Yeah.
But it's just going to be clear which cards went back.
I mean, the key with any Sylvan Library question is that the cards that you draw before you resolve Sylvan Library in its entirety just need to be separate from the rest of your hand.
Yep.
If they get mixed in with your hand,
you can't put them back.
Yeah.
like, sucks, but that's the way it is.
And that's the same in general with the Sylvan cards. There's a complicated fix that just doesn't actually come up that much. People who play Sylvan Library, for the most part, are pretty careful about it.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Why are you allowed to Goblin Dark Dwellers back the busted side of Boom Bust?
Oh my god, I love doing this so much. I've done this so much in Modern. It's like one of my favorite things to do.
Getcha.
Why? Why are you
So-
allowed?
Hey, this is my call out to Wizards to reprint Armageddon in Modern. We need it so bad.
But why?
But why? Because the card in the graveyard has actually 2 converted mana cost. It has a mana cost of 2 and a mana cost of 6. And so it says, can you cast it? Well, yes, you can cast it. And then when you cast it, you choose which modes you want to choose. And the mode you choose is Bust. So
Yep. Because that's
Alright.
how split cards work. It's just 2 different pieces of split cards.
this would be much easier if Wizards would just print a 3 mana Armageddon. I mean, it would just be so much easier for everybody.
I'd play that all day. 4 copies of it, all the time.
And Snapcaster,
Would it cost red, white, and a colorless mana symbol?
probably.
Yes.
Yeah.
The hardest thing
Yeah,
to
like
cast
an
possible.
actual X, yeah.
Yeah,
The Eldrazi, yeah.
yeah.
Do you have one, Megan? I've got one in the email, in the old email bank over here. We have lots of people. All right, so this one's pretty long.
Oh God, I can see it from here. I don't even want to know.
Okay. Hi guys! So I have a question about a scenario involving a Kalitas in play and casting something like Flaying Tendrils. Now with 2 replacement effects, trying to exile any creatures, the player without Kalitas controls, the correct solution is that he or she picks which effect replaces them. The following article, there's an article link, oh God, brings the scenario up and asks if it's okay to just say yes if your opponent asks if Kalitas exiles their creatures. I want to know if this is less rules lawyering preying on a player who knows less about the rules and more like lying via omission. To me, it seems as if my opponent's asking, so do you get the zombies or are they just exiled? If I answer yes, I have willingly misled them. Of course, in any fuzzy situation, a player can and should call a judge, but if a player just omits information on the state of the game, are they not committing an infraction?
So, if you told them something that was actually outright wrong, if Kalitas was alone on the battlefield and they said, I killed your creature, the creature died, do I get a zombie? And you told them, no, you don't get a zombie with Kalitas alone out, that's bad and wrong.
Yep.
Telling them a legal outcome and then hoping that they choose that legal outcome, is fine. You can suggest that they do something that is perfectly legal but a bad decision, right?
I think I would probably discourage this kind of behavior.
At FNM you shouldn't be doing it.
Yeah.
Like at FNM, at FNM represent everything as clearly as possible. At FNM the objective is both players are trying to play as close to a platonic ideal game of Magic as possible. At competitive REL, you can bait your opponent into mistakes sometimes by asking them questions or giving them suggestions that they don't have to follow. Oftentimes somebody lightning bolts me and I have a planeswalker and I say, would you like to redirect this? And I think it's a bad decision for them. And then they do. And I'm like, okay, great. I gave you a legal option and you took it.
I gave you a path you chose to walk it.
So can we rename FNM to Platonic Ideal Magic instead?
That'd be fantastic.
That sounds great.
I would love that.
Rolls off the tongue. All
It
right.
would be a Dodecking entry, right?
So this is a great question. What is your favorite thing about the oracle text of Anime Dead?
Oh my god.
Okay, Rob goes first.
Enchant creature card in a graveyard.
Yeah. Okay, April, what's your favorite part?
For me, my favorite part is like how it fits on a card. It's so majestic and how like tiny the font is. It's like a joke. Like Wizards was like everybody like when they're putting it on the card, they were like snickering to themselves, and I
What
love that.
language is Eternal Masters printed in? Japanese, which it fits because the characters are more dense. What European language is Eternal Masters? It can't be German. Anime
No.
Dead doesn't hardly fits on our card in English. Is it Italian?
I don't know.
This is
I
what the
literally have
internet
no
is
idea.
for.
I'd be really interested to see a non-English, non-Japanese Anime Dead from Eternal Masters because, holy cow.
But yeah, I mean, I think they actually said like when they printed it in Graveborn that it was like a joke, right? And they just wanted to print Anime Dead on a card just because it was so funny.
Well, and their character limit, Anime Dead fits the German character
It's
limit.
just English, Japanese, and Chinese simplified.
Oh.
So
Okay,
English
great.
is
the long one.
densest.
Yes, or is the least
Or
dense.
the least dense, text-wise.
So the thing is that it fits if you look at how small they are willing to make cards in German, which is I think the longest Latinized language, or Latin character set language, then Anime Dead fits within those constraints. And in Graveborn was only in English.
Only in English, yeah.
So the character limit on cards is actually more about German than it is about English. Yep.
All right.
Actually, by the way, I just like love how like if you look at like an alpha or beta version of Anime Dead, it's so simple. It's like enchanted creature in a graveyard or something like that gets -1, -0 or something. It's like super easy, and everybody can just look at it and knows exactly what the card does.
No, they don't.
Yes, they do. I was playing in like revised or whatever, and it made perfect sense to me.
What
Like,
if you
I didn't have to look up any rules to figure out how Anime Dead works.
So-
if I looked at the card now, I would have no idea what's happening.
Right, but the problem is that it's behaved inconsistently with creatures' protection from black throughout its history. Like what happens if you try to reanimate Karmic Guide, who's in the set with it?
You cry.
All right.
Yeah, let's
okay.
Moving on.
Moving on from Anime Dead.
If I Restoration Angel a Thought Knot Seer on my turn, do they draw after the Thought Knot Seer trigger occurs, or do I choose the order in which the triggers stack? Also, does this change if I do it on the opponent's turn?
You should choose.
Yep.
All right.
And it doesn't matter whose turn it is.
Yeah,
So they're both your triggers, so you get to order
choose
them how you want.
And they're both trying to go on the stack at the same time. They can't go on the stack during the Restoration Angel trigger or triggered ability, which is something people don't realize is triggers only wait to go on the stack until the next time.
Yep. And they all go on at the exact same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, they all trigger at some point during the resolution
Yeah.
of a Restoration Angel's ability.
Yeah.
But the next time somebody gets priority is when
When
we
the triggers
start
actually
putting
go
those
on the
triggers
stack.
on the stack.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really good.
Next question. If you could change any part of the game rules, what would you change and why? This is for all of our judges.
Would we change?
Do I have a time machine?
Yeah, you can change whatever you want and access to a TARDIS.
I can hear Mark Rosewater like panicking right now.
There,
He's spoken out against time machines so many times.
well, that's the question. Like, there's things that I would love to change, but I can't. There's things that, like, if I'm locked into not having a time machine, I would just fire the state-based action that applies to Rasputin Dreamweaver, because that's dumb. But, like, give him a triggered ability. Who cares? But if I could go back in time and change anything,
Yeah,
change the way
that's the
lands work.
question. Oh, lands. Okay.
How so?
What do you
land
mean?
drops. There'd be a turn-based action at the start of each main phase that allows you to make all your land drops, and either you use that or you lose it. You can't play spell, make a land drop.
None of the kind of back and forth.
Yeah, there's like if you draw cards, you'll be able to make a land drop in your second main phase at the start of your main phase because it's a turn-based action that produces the land.
Yeah.
But like and it would actually there would be no difference between putting a land into play and playing a land, which is a difference right now. That turn-based action would be put a land into play, and that would mean that there's no.
And so And so things like burgeoning would get everything then, because there would be no difference.
Yeah, there'd be no
between-
difference. Burgeoning and Horn of Greed would trigger off everything.
Okay.
And then there'd just be a simple rule for lands work this way. Other cards behave the same way as that turn-based action. Just simplify all that. Remove the special action of playing a land.
I actually kind of like that because there's a lot of at one of the commander groups that I play in. There's a lot of people who are fairly new to the game that get really confused by the difference between putting a land into play and playing a land, particularly in context of some of the crazy decks that show up that have things that have things that care about lands being played or lands being put into play. So
and then
I do like that. I think that's cool.
All your additional land drop tracking would just be that turn-based action is 2 lands instead of 1. Do them now. Okay, great. You used up all your land drops for the turn in your turn-based action.
Yeah, I know a lot of people talk about like how they wish that like there were not instant and sorcery. They were just
Flash
like,
was just
Flash was just an ability on sorceries to make them act like instants.
That'd be pretty okay.
But I think the one that I wish that like the card type like you know like we have tribal. I wish that had been like just like a kind of one of the card types from the very beginning instead of just like because like tribal kind of plays really messily in the rules like
I mean, if you want to do that, you can just say that creature types can go on all cards. Fire tribal entirely.
I'd be fine with that.
It just instead of having to make a new card type that shares the
it's
pool
like
of
an
card
elf
types.
instant.
Yeah, you can just But that's the point is that you have a pool of card types that are the creature types, and these can go on anything.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, I think that'd be great.
You keep lands have land types, like spells have spell types. You
wouldn't even need to have creatures as a specific type. It would just have power and toughness in the corner. And therefore, it's a creature.
Yeah. Well, you probably still want.
You probably still have a creature type.
Card
just
types
because
define how you play spells. So.
I mean, it would probably really have changed how the game developed.
Yeah.
How the words and the rules came out. But.
Well, you want creature as a type because that tells you how you cast it. The problem with tribal is it's a card type that doesn't tell you how you cast it. That's the real problem with it, because tribal can't stand alone.
Sure.
And every other card type gives you rules for how to play.
You can't just have like card type tribal elf.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. And so it doesn't behave like a card type, and it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
All right.
So.
All right, we've got another one. So this has to do with when a permanent is phased out, or cards with phasing. So while it's phased out, could it still be called a permanent you own? And when exactly does it phase in?
We would need context for this. Like
there's a lot that goes into answering a question about anything that's phased out.
Well, yeah. I mean, the phase in is at the beginning of the untap step. That's just the way the phasing works. But why do you? What card cares about a permanent you own?
I have no idea.
Yeah,
we don't have a context. Okay, we've got another question though, which is what is the shortest amount of rules text or like text on a card that leads to the most judge calls?
Rules text.
Or text on a card. Just like what's the shortest amount of text that leads to the greatest number of judge calls, do you think?
I think
2 words is about the minimum. Assuming you count a number as a word.
Right, but I think they're saying
one word is the minimum.
What leads to the most calls, not necessarily what could lead to a call.
Well,
exactly.
What would the best ratio be?
What is the smallest amount of text that gets people to yell judge the most? Like in practice.
In practice, the word cascade.
Yeah.
A spell with a card with only cascade can generate judge calls, where everything else needs like either 2 words or a word and a number for the most part. I think.
All right.
I think if we're not going off of a keyword, I would say something like this. This is one I think we'll all be familiar
Rest
with.
in peace.
If a card or token will be put into a graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead. That generates a lot of questions like when you kill it, where the hell do things go?
Yeah, so banding is another example, perhaps. But that's also what banding does. Okay. So, another question for you here. Let me go and look. This is from Twitch.
Actual calls about banding. Nobody plays it.
Nobody plays banding.
I keep getting questions about it in my seminars, but that's.
But it's so old, nobody cares.
Yeah.
Whereas Cascade is something that actually happens quite often.
Yeah.
How does Strionic Resonator work with Ice Cauldron?
The hell is the text on Ice Cauldron?
It's so long. It's like an anime dead type card now, I think.
I can try and find it for you.
Well, no, Ice Cauldron probably has had the most different Oracle texts in history.
No, I felt like Mindslaver, isn't like Mindslaver or something like
No, it's
card.
Ice Cauldron.
I mean,
Ice Cauldron
like
at
me?
one point got functional errata with every major
All right,
level.
we're gonna go ahead and read the text of Ice Cauldron.
Good luck.
Okay, I'm gonna need a lozenge halfway through. X, tap. Put a charge counter on Ice Cauldron and exile a non-land card from your hand. You may cast that card for as long as it remains exiled. Note the type and amount of mana spent to pay
Just
this
copies
activation
activated
cost. Activate this ability
Triggered
only
abilities.
if there
Oh,
are
so it
no
doesn't
charge counters on Ice Cauldron. Tap. Remove a charge counter from Ice Cauldron. Add Ice Cauldron's last noted type and amount of mana to your mana pool. Spend this mana only to cast the last card exiled with Ice Cauldron cost 4.
You know, they could just make this a keyword called layaway X.
I'd
this
also
be great as
like to
layaway?
point out that the question is irrelevant because Strionic Resonator doesn't interact with Ice Cauldron at all. Because Strionic Resonator deals with triggered abilities,
Yeah.
and all of these are activated.
But there are
Oh,
things
okay.
are there things that copy activated abilities?
Rings of Bright Hearth.
Yeah,
Oh, there
Rings
was
of Bright
one.
Hearth is the big one.
Yeah.
All right.
If the
so
question is
it
Rings of Bright Hearth,
doesn't.
it just
Like,
Yeah.
wouldn't that be like a layaway keyword? You could just call it layaway.
Yeah, I mean, like,
Isn't
you
that just
It's kind of like suspend.
it's
yeah,
a
yeah, I
it's
guess
it's a weird suspend variant that
Yeah.
doesn't need to exist really.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can spend some mana now and some mana later.
I guess it's also echo as well. It's basically spending mana now and spending mana later.
And like if you made it into a mechanic, there's a mechanic in Dominion that is my least favorite mechanic in Dominion that is this.
Mm-hmm.
It's called debt. You take a bunch of debt tokens and then you pay them off during your next buys. And so you could get like a debt 9
Yeah.
card, take a bunch of debt tokens, and then pay them off during your next buys. And you're like,
I got a
guess-
thing.
Yeah, take the best spell with debt. Like, good.
Sure.
Big old credit card debt. Don't
Yeah.
care.
Do we lose this?
All right. No, we got it. We got it. So, question. This is just a general one that you probably get a lot, but if you all had like one quick piece of advice for anybody thinking about becoming a judge or looking to become a judge, what would that advice be?
Judge.
Yeah,
The judge program in general certifies you for doing the things that you're already doing.
Yep.
So, help out at F&M, take some calls, and help out at your weekly tournaments. Ask somebody who's head judging your PPTQ if you can help out at the event. Like, the advice is do it,
Yeah.
and then my next piece of advice is get a mentor.
I
mean-
was gonna say shadow somebody.
Yeah.
Shadow somebody. As an expansion of what Rob said, like one of the most important things about being a judge in your community is actually being a part of the community. There's a lot of people that approach all of us asking, hey, what do I have to do to become a judge? And you might ask them, where do you play regularly, or are you a part of a local community? Do you talk with your community a lot? And they go, not really. And you're kind of like, well, that's a huge part of being a judge is being active in your Magic community.
This thing that we're doing, where we're hanging out answering rules questions from the Magic community.
This is judging. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Like this is as much judging as going to an event and watching people play Magic. Like, so that would be my advice.
All right, here's a very serious question. Do higher ranking judges get cooler uniforms, like more stripes and stars, or even epaulets?
Shut up, Rob.
There's a generic judge shirt, which is the black judge shirt, and then there are 2 special judge shirts. These are the only actual uniform differences. The 2 special judge shirts are the blue regional coordinator shirt that I have, and the Grand Prix head judge burgundy shirt.
Which is super sharp looking. I really like
Yeah,
that.
it's a really, really great shirt. I should probably apply to head judge Grand Prix at some point, so that I can get one. But those are the only differentiations. Sometimes at Grand Prix, judges are given name tags by the Grand Prix tournament organizer, and because there's so many judges in the staff, oftentimes you don't know everybody. And there's oftentimes a lot of new judges on staff that don't know the level 3s, and level 3s are the
color
experts.
coded to
and it's usually really, really subtle. It's like the outline of the name badge is in a different color, or the name on the name badge is a different color, and that's just so that to help other judges find them. It's not to say this person's better than that person. It's just we want a way to for people that don't also identify us.
Yeah, I actually think the judge shirts are my least favorite part of the entire judge program. One is they fit women horribly. They fit this so bad. Even the women's version is like makes me look like a lump. Like it makes me look terrible. And 2 is that like they're black. It's like a black shirt with black pants, and like at a Grand Prix, even as a judge, it can be hard to find other judges because they're just in black. Like which so is half the people at the GP. Like
I mean, like nobody ever has a problem finding me.
Well, yes,
but that's
that
also
is true.
because I'm a giant.
Yeah.
Well, being tall helps. helps a lot.
Thank you
but
for
I mean,
answering this question seriously.
Well, there's the non-serious thing is which I put command rank pips on my RC shirt.
and this was why I said "shut up, Rob" before
Yeah.
you started talking.
I think I've worn a tie with my judge shirt. I think that looked pretty nice.
I would actually be in favor of judges at Grand Prix being much more visible than black. I would
like Hunter's orange.
Or even like the
I mean, like
shirts or
this,
something,
or I mean,
anything.
like I like
Or
the Star City blue, like the
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah,
Star
those are
City
fine.
blue is
It's
really
very
nice.
easy.
I would honestly be fine with them switching the colors. All the floor judges get burgundy, all the head judges get black.
That would be great.
Because
the head judge is always usually in the same place anyways. Like they're
Right.
easy to find.
Well,
I mean, the point.
Sometimes.
Typically the
real question.
Yeah, right.
Real question. Judges, if I cast Beacon of Destruction but forget to shuffle it in, and my opponent notices it on his or her next main phase, what would be your ruling? Yes, Rob.
Shuffle
it in.
Yeah.
Shuffle it in.
Give a gameplay. I'm assuming competitive REL for all
Yes,
this.
yes.
At FNM, you shuffle them in. You say, "Hey, don't forget this." You give a warning at competitive, and you give a failure to maintain for the non-beacon player.
And this is generally true for
Yeah.
anything that is in the wrong zone, just like Obsidat. Well, for the most part.
Generally.
Yeah.
Generally.
Yeah.
So this is a question that I often think about. What's your best guess for how contraptions will work? Now, I've talked about this on the show, and it is the correct answer, but I'm interested to know your thoughts.
And it is the correct answer.
It is, according to me.
According to you. I hope that contraptions work like Munchkin cards work, where you basically just assemble giant things that do crazy stuff out of components that otherwise do nothing.
Yeah.
They could also look like level cards. And it could be artifact contraption, and then it would be on the right side like a level card has assembled once, assembled twice, or whatever.
Yep.
And so then when the contraption is assembled, it does something better.
Yeah, I think it's like I feel like it will look like the festering newt cycle with the
Ogre Witch, Festering Newt, and Bubbling Cauldron.
You just kind of assemble them all together.
Okay. Spooky Moon, aka Eldritch Moon, for those not in the know. What is causing the problem on Innistrad?
There are less hats than there were the last time we were there.
So the angels are like losing their mind.
They're punishing people for their lack of pious hats.
Yeah, hats
Perfect
hats
answer.
were the tribal theme in previous Innistrad, and now people have abandoned their hats, and they're being punished for their hubris.
Yeah, I actually made a joke because I like to do custom magic cards. I made a joke. I made a joke magic card called The Great Reveal, and it was like 2 in a blue, and it says an additional cost, sacrifice 5 clues, and it says you may put an Eldrazi with converted mana cost 15 from your hand onto the battlefield.
Ta-da!
But nobody knows what it could be. I mean, it could really
I-
be anything. Any
I'm-
Eldrazi that costs 15.
Well, I'm actually fairly certain that there's going to be a double-faced big furry monster card that's like the moon and a pile of cultists, and you transform them together.
That would be amazing.
Have you seen the might be fake or it might not be Endbringer?
Yeah, the
So
one that
there's-
was printed across 2 cards.
Yeah, it's on the back of 2 cards. There's some number of rare sheets have Smoldering Marsh and what's his name, the mythic Black Planeswalker from Obnixilis.
Obnixilis, yeah.
And so it's got they have normal fronts, and on their backs it's an Endbringer that is an 8/8 that has an empty symbol space in the upper left for a double-faced card. And it's like, what? Endbringer isn't an 8/8, and it's also sideways and double-sized.
Could be.
That's
Could be. Like Big Furry Monster, basically.
Yeah.
A tournament
An
legal
actual
big furry
real- a
monster.
real
Like that'd
big
be
furry
amazing.
monster, yeah.
Yep. I will link you these at some point.
Alright.
They are hilarious. I'm not convinced they're real, but I'm also not convinced they're not real. So.
Just got honked at by an elephant.
I think you got hooted at by an owl, but, opinions.
So,
All right.
So can we be the Simic and compromise and say it's both an elephant and an owl?
Oh yeah, it can be an owl.
An elephant
Sure.
owl?
An elephant owl.
So an owl the
how
size
did
of
they
an elephant?
It's
I
always
like this
human
plan.
first, right? And then is it alphabetical order and then class?
It depends on whether or not
So-
zombies on the card.
All right.
Oh, so it could be like a zombie, or right? Because it could be a zombie owl elephant, or a zombie elephant owl, right?
But I think they have a question.
Yeah, sorry.
Yes, that's all good. When I cast a spell with Madness, does it resolve before or after the discard effect takes place? For instance, Hera of Falconwrath transforming. Hair of Falconwrath.
Hair.
Hair.
Hair
I mean,
of Falconwrath.
Fabulous hair.
Transforming.
She does
Like-
have great hair, doesn't she? I feel like
Push your thing.
A teapot.
Yeah,
I'm a
teapot down
Teapot.
here. I mean, like you're discarding, and the discard effect happens, and as you're doing that, you pay the madness effect happens.
Okay.
So you've already discarded the card when you
Yeah.
play the card for its madness.
I think they're
But
asking.
what does the Heir of Falconwrath look like? Is it its front face or its back face?
It's its front face because it is discard a card as a cost.
Okay.
So the answer is it depends. If the discard is part of the effect, then that thing is resolving. If the discard is part of the cost, then it's part of the cost of putting that on the stack, and the madness goes above it and
Yep.
resolves first.
Yeah, if it was
Yeah.
worded like discard a card, comma, transform this, colon, then it would be flipped.
but I mean,
Transform
like
as a cost.
Sure, I mean,
That's
why not?
exciting.
That could be cool.
somebody get Morrow on the phone.
You can pay all sorts of costs that you shouldn't be able to pay. You can pay by adding mana to your mana pool.
Like
So
another example would be like Jace Vryn's Prodigy
Yep.
is the opposite, right?
right, exactly. It's part of the resolution of the ability.
Yep.
All right. Sweet. We have one more from Twitter. How does Ever After affect color identity? Does a colorless card become monocolored and monocolored card become multicolored?
Ever After. So Ever After says return up to 2 creature cards from target creature cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. Each of those creatures is a black zombie in addition to its other colors and types. Put Ever After on the bottom of its owner's library.
Colorless and is not a color.
Yeah.
Or
So-
brown is not a color, unfortunately.
Yep. So if you reanimate a colorless creature with this,
It's just black.
It's just black. But if you reanimate a green creature, it's now green and black.
Because it says in addition.
Yeah.
If it didn't say in addition, it would just make it black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look,
All right.
And if it already had black and it's like double black, it's like
Great.
It's like so many skulls in there, like Grizzlebrand or
Yeah.
Phyrexian or Brother.
It just instantly turns into Grizzlebrand
Yeah.
if you got enough black
There's
mana
enough
symbols
black
on there.
symbols on there?
Yeah, I like this plan.
Okay, what happens if I have dice representing -0, -1 counters, and dice representing +1/+1 counters on my wall of roots, but both me and my opponent forget which die represents which? You get a firm slap, is what happens.
Yeah,
Yes, Patrick.
I agree with the firm slap. Please pay more attention to which dice you're using.
This is specifically why they only print +1/+1 and -1/-1.
Yes.
Which is too bad because like back in the day there were all sorts of wacky counters and it was
like
kind of fun.
Frankenstein's monster.
It was like a plus
3
0,
That was
different
amazing.
counters on it.
Great.
No, we had to add a specific section to free and derived information for that stupid card. Like, Frankenstein's monster, you could put up Frankenstein's monster, put a D6 on it and another D6 on 2 and 3. Put it forward and say, go. And your opponent goes, how big is it? And you go, guess. Now, you're obligated to tell them what kinds of counters are on things now.
Yeah. As for the question,
As for the question, I would try to reconstruct as best as
Yeah.
possible.
like, I think you usually play through the game. It's kind of like the same thing when somebody has like two
It becomes a lot easier
cards in hand.
if the creature
Yeah.
has done something since it was played. Like,
Yeah. Well, I would say, when did you play Wall of Roots? How many times have you activated Gavany Township? Do you have other creatures with +1/+1 counters on them that were out at the same time as
Yep.
Wall of
Yep.
Roots?
Yep.
Okay, then those have to be +1/+1s.
yeah, context is huge for trying to
Yeah.
reconstruct these game states. So,
Because it's almost always Gavany Township plus whatever.
And these are always the most complicated judge questions too. Like
Yeah, these
they're
are
the ones where you step back from the table and you just like mull it over in your head.
Yeah, I'm actually doing a seminar at the Iowa conference on specifically sorting out things like this.
Yeah.
So-
All right. So if you exile a card with Pyxis of Pandemonium, then process it out of exile, and then activate Pyxis of Pandemonium's second ability, what happens?
I mean, what? Yeah,
It's not in exile anymore.
yeah.
Okay, so it doesn't see it. I have a question. Is when you process it out of exile, is it face up or face down?
Face up.
Face up.
Once
Okay.
it moves zones, it becomes a new object.
Okay.
And note that it doesn't have any characteristics while it's face down, so many of the processors can't even touch it. Oblivion Sower, which only processes lands, can't touch the cards under Pyxis of Pandemonium.
Gotcha, because it doesn't know.
Correct.
Okay, how about this question to end? Flavor ruling. Can a ceaseless hunger be satisfied by an infinite euro?
Ooh. How good is the euro?
Like very good. Like best in the Twin Cities.
I don't know. That's tough.
have to look something up here real quick.
Well, the question that I have is, for how long?
I mean, it's an infinite euro.
It's an
Sure.
infinite euro.
Infinite euro.
Infinite euro.
So theoretically, the ceaseless hunger will never be satisfied, but it also will never run out of food to eat.
Right.
So you can keep it occupied, but I think the answer is it can't be satisfied by an infinite euro.
Yeah, it can just be
Yeah.
distracted.
Okay.
It can be distracted for an infinite period of time as long as the euro continues to exist.
So this actually makes me think of the question that LSV asked Ben Stark that just I could not stop laughing. So here it is for you two. So if you cast Pick the Brain, targeting your opponent, and they reveal Brain in the jar, do you have to take the Brain in the jar? I mean, are you obligated to take it?
I mean, like, I think so.
It does say Pick the Brain.
Like,
But like, could you also just take any creature with a brain? Like, if it has a head?
now, I mean,
then
like,
brain.
if we go with like the community cup style like rules where each person has a specific rule, like, I feel like under that type of scenario, you have to pick the brain in the jar, unless there's a creature with like another creature with an exposed brain.
So
Well, it has to be an exposed brain.
Well, because
Yeah,
like
so like a contained brain would not count then.
So
Yeah,
like,
so like-
if there's
what's
just a
his name?
human on the card.
the star with, whenever you draw a card, each opponent loses a life.
that would be the Phyrexian something.
No, it's not a Phyrexian
Or-
anything. It's,
Does the chat know?
what the card is?
Yeah.
I don't know.
We're a little behind.
Yeah, it's alright. It's cool.
Yeah.
I'm unlocking your phone and using card
wait.
search here.
While you guys are debating
Yeah, yeah.
this, we have
All
another
right.
good flavor
All right.
one,
Excellent.
which was, can
Lock it on me.
sleep paralysis
No, I
affect a
want
tireless
flavor text.
tracker?
This is, I think, that's another one of those LSV questions. Really, you guys have to
What
listen
flavor
to
text? It's
this
down
the
here
recording. It's
Psychosis
it's so
crawler.
good.
Flavor text brain.
Oh,
Psychosis
someone
crawler?
says psychosis crawler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like psychosis crawler, if you
yeah, there we go.
But it's contained in a glass jar.
So
just
is
like
brain in
in
a
the
jar.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's true.
so
Yeah.
But
so
I'd say
hence the
psychosis. Psychosis crawler you have to pick first because it says it's more brains.
That's fair.
Yeah.
All right.
Specifically in the flavor text. But otherwise
Fair
you have to
enough.
pick brain in the jar.
All right,
Yeah.
and can sleep paralysis affect a tireless tracker?
You can go to sleep when you're not tired.
Okay.
Like-
okay.
Yeah. Like a tireless tracker may still sleep.
Yeah.
They just don't.
Like maybe they just had too much booze, or they took like an Ambien or something.
I mean, like,
I mean, if
I can
not
be as
tired,
wound up
get
as I
tired
want,
down,
but
I would definitely take an
if I get
Ambien.
enough drinks in me, like, I'm out. Like,
Yeah.
Even
All
at
right.
even at like 8 in the morning.
yes.
All right, one more.
I refuse to admit whether or not that has happened before.
One more real question. We have Amelia attacks with a ball lightning. Neil blocks with Death's Shadow while at 8 life. What happens?
So it's a 5/5 right then.
So
Starts as a 13/13, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
So it's
Yeah. So it's a 5/5 at that point.
yes, and they're
ball
attacking
lightning's
with
a
a
6/1.
ball
right?
lightning.
Volleying 6-1 trample.
Yeah.
Yeah. So well, did Amelia elect to trample?
That's still up for
Because
grabs.
that's important.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's the question.
Do you
is
want to explain
Amelia
how
has
it,
a choice.
Explain to us how it works.
Amelia gets to choose whether or not she wants to trample over for 1, right? Because she's a 6 power being blocked by a 5/5. If she does that, if she elects to trample over, she assigns 5 damage to the Death Shadow, 1 damage to the player. The damage happens. Death Shadow increases in size because it's a continuous
Yep.
effect.
Yep.
Immediately becomes a 6/6.
Yep. And then state-based actions are checked, and assuming nothing else is going on, it's a 6/6 with 5 damage marked on it and survives.
Yeah, this question is way more easily asked as, hey, I have a 2/3 Tarmogoyf and I cast Lightning Bolt and there's no instance in the graveyard. Does the Tarmogoyf die? And
Yeah,
it doesn't.
And the answer is no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if she tramples over for 1, the Death,
Death Shadow
Shadow does
lives.
not die.
Correct.
But if she assigns all 6 damage to the Death Shadow,
It does die.
It's
Yes.
real dead.
Yep.
Yes. That's
All right.
Super dead.
Yep.
Nice. Very cool. All right, Maria.
All right, how do you guys feel about this JudgeFest 2016,
I
judges?
think
I'm
it's been
having a lot of
fun.
fun.
This
I think
is
it's
this has
pretty
been
good.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to say thank you to all our
Wait,
judges.
wasn't there one question you had in the car?
Oh, what was the question?
It was like, what is the most interesting judge call you've
Oh
had?
yeah. So
Yeah.
before we end, we're gonna ask what was either the most interesting or perhaps most complex judge call you've ever had to deal with in your Magic careers.
So I have a really fun one that was just so weird. It was so weird. It was at a GP. It was I want to say it was a modern GP, and I get called over, and the opponent says, my opponent has checklist cards, and they're obviously Delver Secrets because it was like a blue-red aggro deck, so it was like Delver Secrets and Young Pyroman. So it was obviously it was Young Pyroman or Delver Secrets, but it wasn't marked on the card. It was just a blank checklist card, and it was just just an English checklist card. It wasn't very valuable or anything like that. And so I say, oh, well, we did the penalties and everything like that. And I ask the opponent, I'm like, I need you to mark on the checklist card that is a Delver of Secrets. And he was like, no, I refuse to do that. I refuse to deface a Magic card in this way.
But it's a checklist card?
It's a checklist card. It's specifically designed for being defaced.
Like the whole purpose of it is to be defaced.
Question: was this guy serious?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah. I assume goodwill and seriousness. Yeah.
Okay. He appealed it to the head judge, and eventually I think he ended up marking the cards. He could have just marked on the sleeve or something like that. I mean,
as long as it's unambiguous.
Like a Sharpie or something like that.
If it was in like a perfect fit, like you can mark on the perfect fit or something. But yeah, he was like super, super upset about having to mark his checklist cards.
Where you're like, I will go get you another one?
No, the correct response is you may elect to do that. I will give you a game loss for every single game that you play.
Yeah.
I will follow you around and be like, well, that's
So that means I lose forever.
Yes.
Wow.
You don't get to play in this tournament anymore.
It's awkward because checklist cards aren't real cards until they're marked, basically.
Yeah.
Is the way that policy treats them.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was so weird. And like I say, it got appealed to the head judge. Like I had to bring the head judge over.
And the head judge was like, yeah.
You have to mark
Yes,
it.
you have to mark your card. Yeah.
Surprise,
Wow.
surprise! You actually have to use this card the way it was intended to be used.
Okay, how about Rob and Patrick? Favorite judge calls ever? Or most interesting?
I have a recent really weird and difficult one. So I was head judging the Legacy Open in Worcester, or was it in New Jersey? Whichever it was. It was over Thanksgiving weekend this last year, and it's day 2, so the players generally know what they're doing, which is only loosely
Sure.
But
You said it was Legacy.
yeah, it's Legacy.
Yeah.
It's Legacy day 2 high table. We don't have a ton of judges because one of the judges off the event called in sick, so I'm taking calls on the floor as the head judge, and I get called over, and the player A is playing Storm, player A is playing Elves. They went first. Player B is playing Storm. Player A on their first turn goes Forest, Green Sun Zenith for 0, fetch a Dried Arbor, shuffle my Green Sun Zenith in. So they pass the turn and they have 2 lands on the battlefield and no cards in their graveyard. The Storm opponent untaps, plays an Underground, casts Brainstorm, goes into the tank for a little bit to figure out whether or not he can kill his opponent on turn 2 or even on this turn. I mean, the only reason to Brainstorm on turn 1 with Storm is to figure out if you can kill him on the spot.
Yep.
And he goes into the tank for a little bit, long enough where the Elves player gets a little bored, and he goes, okay, I'm going to put 2 cards back with Brainstorm. He sets his cards down, and he bumps one, and it falls half-cocked off the top of his library. And he goes back to his hand, and then he sees this, and he reaches over to fix it. And his Elf opponent, being really nice, goes, no, you didn't cast Ponder. You don't draw a card as the last part of the spell result. And the Storm player goes, oh. And the Elf player goes, oh, wait, no, you cast it on my end step. Yeah, go ahead and draw your card for turn. Just make sure to untap your land before you do in the future. And the Brainstorm player goes, okay, great. Untaps his land, draws his card, taps his land, casts another Brainstorm,
Yeah.
draws
What
2
a
cards. He goes into the tank for a little bit, and he's trying to figure out, and then he stops and he goes,
What?
it's not my turn again. I thought it was my turn because you had 2 lands and nothing showing anywhere. Like, it made sense to me and it made sense to you, but it's not the case. And so they call a judge and they call me over and I sit down and I walk through the situation, get the whole situation. I go, you're in luck. I am the head judge and I may deviate from policy in significant and exceptional circumstances. And my options are leave this as it is or rewind using the drawing extra cards fix of letting your opponent choose cards out of your hand and shuffle them into your library. And if I leave it as it is, the Storm player gets a bonus turn, and they win the game. If I let him get Thoughtseize 4 times, because 3 Brainstorm cards plus card for turn from the Elves player, then the Elves player wins the games on the spot. And so I'm like, I would like to deviate in this circumstance. And then I looked at it, I goes, I can deviate, but I don't know what to do. I was like, I genuinely have no idea how to fix this. I'm gonna have to think about this for a minute. And the Storm player, who's way more experienced, goes, I explained the the different options of them, and both of them hate everything.
Yeah.
They're just like, we want this to be a real game of Magic, but it really can't be at this point. And the Storm player goes, we can elect to draw this game, right?
Yes.
And I said, you may. And the Elves player goes, so does that mean that we're only going to play one more game? And I go, no. You play until somebody wins 2 games, because this is game 1. Sorry, this is midway into the round. The Elves player had won game 1. And he's like, what happens if he wins the next game 3? Do we draw the match? And I go, no. You play until somebody has 2 wins. I'll give you like 10 additional minutes because of the time it took to figure this out. Play another game if you elect to draw. And the Elves player goes, oh, so this game just doesn't matter, doesn't count. I go, yes. That was great. I like every option is terrible. And
this is the least terrible option.
Yeah, I still really don't have a good idea. Like,
I have no clue how I fix that.
So the policy fix says do some rewinding. It's miserable. There's a lot of different partial fixes that have been suggested to me, and I don't like any of them. This is just literally like somebody took an extra turn and then caught it well past the point of no return. Play on from there is what policy probably have me do, because it's a rewind involving random elements. I don't especially like that. Like, it just kills the Elves player who has managed to cast 1 spell.
All right.
So possibly I don't know whether I could call it the most complicated judge call I've had, but it was certainly the one that made me feel the cruddiest about having taken it or having to rule on it. So Gen Con last year, I was head judge for Modern Champs. One of my floor judges takes a call, player playing Lightning Storm. You may remember this. Player playing Lightning Storm. So, for people who don't know what Lightning Storm is, this is the ad nauseum Storm Lightning Storm deck, where you play Lightning Storm and then you discard. Well done, Rob. You play Lightning Storm and then you discard lands to make Lightning Storm bigger to kill your opponent all in one go. So, player had ad nauseamed, played Lightning Storm, and then kind of just sat there and was durdling, didn't say anything, didn't do anything. And his opponent goes, judge. And I'm like, my floor judge comes over and takes the call, and he's like, at this point my opponent has not explicitly retained priority. I'd like to do something with Lightning Storm on the stack. Or, I should have priority to do something, right? And my floor judge ruled no. And so the player appeals immediately to me. And I come over and I spend about 5 to 6 minutes talking with these guys. One of the players is actively conversing with me and talking, and the player who's playing Lightning Storm has said about 5 words, answered my questions, but kind of refuses to give me more information about what has happened. And I go, I've got a lot of information about what's happened from this guy. That's the person I'm most sure about what's happened here. So I ruled in favor of the opponent. He had the priority, and the guy who played Lightning Storm just lost on the spot. And those are really frustrating because you go, I made the decision, I made a call that was entirely within policy. And it sucks to have to make that call. But it's also one of those things where people who play decks like that have to know exactly what they're doing. Lightning Storm in particular is just infuriating for people to have to judge with people who aren't familiar with the card and how it works.
You just have to play the deck on Moto once, and you will instantly know how the card works.
And you're like, oh.
You hold control, and you keep priority, and then you win.
Or you cast it and you didn't know that you had to do that, and your opponent
and you just die.
And you just die.
And you're like,
so
why
that's
doesn't my
what
spell work? And then you go Google it, and then you're angry because you just threw away your ticks in your
but
you weren't on Moto.
Right.
But so I absolutely hated having to deliver that ruling, but it was the perfect example of players either giving me information that I needed to reconstruct what had happened, or refusing to give me information and me having to go with the partial story that the opponent was able to give me articulately.
Yeah, it's kind of,
and
it's
it's a judgment, and it becomes a judgment call where I go, I have information that makes me want to believe this wholeheartedly.
Yeah, I actually really have a hard time with those judge calls where, like, you get called to the table and both players are equally right. Like, they both make cases that could be equally plausible.
And you must make a decision.
And you have to make a decision. And often you're right. It just comes down to, like, who explained the case more eloquently. Like, I mean, that's tough. I mean, like, if they can explain it clear and they have a better idea of the board state and what's going on, like...
as much as possible, I try to dig for facts. I had a situation where I got it appealed up to me. Player A missed his second land drop on the draw and went to he goes, I would like to discard. His opponent had 2 mana untapped and wanted to cast thing. He goes, I would like to go to discard. He says to his opponent, can I go to discard? He goes, yeah. He discards a card, and his opponent then wants to cast a spell, like some kind of draw and discard kind of effect. And he's like, no, you don't get the ability to cast that because
it's in my cleanup.
Discard already gone to my cleanup. And he's like, you don't get the ability to see this. The judge ruled that the opponent could play a spell. He appealed it. He starts going into this long, like, I told him that he couldn't do this the last time that he tried to do it on my previous turn, and I gave it to him once and he's not allowed to do it. And I'm like, is this card in your graveyard the card you're trying to discard this turn? He goes, yeah. I go, it's the only card in your graveyard. What previous turn? And he goes from angry to stupefied, like, oh, I've been being a jerk this whole time. I'm like, I agree with you. Your opponent doesn't get to cast the spell, but don't try to make stuff up. Like,
I mean, but I've definitely had calls. It doesn't happen very often where, like, they disagree on the facts. Like, they're two players who have completely different understandings of the facts of the spell.
Right, but trying to my point is that trying to you ask them questions that can be proved or disproved. Like, where did that card come from? Oh, well, that gives me context to the whole rest of your story. And that's sometimes you can't. Like, sometimes you're just stuck.
That's what being a judge means. In the end,
so
you
sometimes
are
being a judge
made to
means
judge.
Actual judging.
Yeah, I mean,
sometimes
there's a reason that we make judgment calls all the time. Like,
that's why we're not called referees. I mean,
it's also why you should be wearing long black robes like the Supreme Court, in my humble opinion.
Agreed.
Well, if we could wear the big white powdered wigs,
let's be clear. If I had a big black robe and a wig, I would have showed up to this in that.
Okay.
100%.
Yeah. We'll take that.
For 2017, you guys have to
supply robes and wigs.
We will.
Yeah,
and like squeaky hammer gavels. Like,
man.
Yeah.
I just want to bang on this really nice table.
That's what we'll have for 2017 is squeaky hammer gavels, robes, and wigs. But thank you all so much for participating in JudgeFest 2016.
Absolutely, thank you very much.
That was super fun.
Awesome.
We decided to hold this event, of course, to thank the judges in our community because judges are great, and we wanted to give them some more recognition and have some good, fun, old-fashioned times with them, answering some silly questions that we have. And thank you to April for Magic the Jeopardy,
that was amazing.
which was incredible.
That was fantastic.
So just fantastic. Thank you all for your service to this magic country.
Yes. And if you are listening to the audio version of this, we highly recommend, especially for this episode, that you check out the video, which is on the Tolarian Community College YouTube channel, and will be up later this week as well. So you can see all those awesome Jeopardy questions and our wonderful guests.
So until JudgeFest 2017, this is Megan Maria signing off. See you on the internets, kids.
Hoot hoot.